If FL Studio's piano roll still feels slow, random, or frustrating, these 5 simple tips will make it easier to get your ideas out. When I first started making beats in FL Studio, I thought the piano roll was just a place to kind of play around with some of the musical notes. But over time, I come to realize that the piano roll is one of the main reasons why FL Studio is so powerful. So in this video, I'm going to give you the 5 FL Studio piano roll tips that I wish I knew in the very beginning. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, tip number 1 is how to easily roll my kicks or hi-hats. So what do I mean by that? So in a lot of modern trap and modern music in general, we know that those hi-hats really go crazy. And in FL Studio, it's really easy to do that. So what we're gonna do here now, I just have a basic hi-hat pattern going on right now. Just go ahead and play it. Okay, super simple, super easy. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna highlight this note right here. You see now it's in the pinkish color. I'm gonna go ahead and extend it and just kind of let it touch the other note there. Now on my keyboard, I'm gonna go ahead and hit Option A. In Windows, that should be Alt A. And this is gonna open up the arpeggiator. Now, with the arpeggiator, what we can do here is we have time multi. So I'm going to go ahead and play with this knob. See, as I move it up, the notes here start to change, right? So if I want to do a little bit, just kind of a light roll, I'll just go ahead and leave it there. So let's go ahead and play that. Pretty cool. I'm just going to go ahead and undo that. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to the arpeggiator. We have it pulled up right here. Now let's say I want it to be a little more dramatic. I can go ahead and pull it down. We see as much going on, much more right there. Go ahead and click on accept. And instead of letting it extend all the way like that, I'm just going to go ahead and take off some of the notes here. So it could just be kind of like a light crunching sound, like a light crunching roll. So let's go ahead and play that right now. All right, perfect, easy peasy. Now with this, it might seem kind of simple to you guys. That's kind of a cool tip, but it allows you to really go crazy with this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this back to where it was. Just went ahead and did undo. So now I'm gonna go ahead and arpeggiate this one. Let's just go ahead and make this kind of a medium roll just in the middle. And then I'm gonna take this note and I'm just gonna pull it down a little bit. Gonna go ahead and extend it. Once again, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight it. Now I'm gonna hit Alt A or Option A, depending on your operating system. I'm gonna go ahead and click on accept. And let's go ahead and do one for this. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this up a little bit. And I'm gonna highlight it. Option A or Alt A. And let's make that one a little more dramatic. So let's go ahead and play it all together. See, easy peasy, super simple, but as you can see here now, doing that can make a pretty cool groove with the rest of the music. So I have some stuff going on in this beat here. I'm just gonna keep this super simple. We're just gonna play just a little part of this. I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight. Then we're gonna hit Command B here in Mac just to play this with the rest of the beat. I don't even know if it's gonna fit the rest of the beat. I'm just doing this on the fly here. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat that I have so far with this new hi-hat pattern, and let's see how it sounds. Wow, I think that sounds pretty cool. So we can go from that basic hi-hat pattern to having some cool articulation, some cool rolls going in on our hi-hats, and just simply by taking things off of right here, off of the C5 and just dropping it a little bit, letting things kind of roll into each other, can kind of have just kind of a cool little somewhat melodic aspect to our drums. So that's something that I wish someone would have told me in the beginning. I had to figure it out the hard way, way back in the day, and now you have that jewel and you can use it to cook up your next beat. All right, and the next thing that I wish I knew about FL Studio's piano roll in the very beginning is how to glide my 808s. And this really came to be when I really heard a lot of those 808 glides by producers like T minus, the Motto beat by Drake. There's a lot of those 808 bends in the Motto, and just a lot of T minus's stuff. I would always hear those 808 bends, and I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't know how simple it was here in the piano roll. So I'm going to go ahead and show you it right now in case you don't know. Very simple. So what we're going to do here now, I have my 808 pattern going on. So I'm just going to go ahead and play some of it as is, and then we're going to add the glide so I can show you how much better it sounds. So let's take a listen to it so far. All right, that sounds good so far. And if you're wondering what's going on, I do have another set of 808s going on here in the beat, but that's not what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on this specific 808 going on right now, and we're going to go ahead and bend it. All right, so what I'm going to do here now, so we have everything zoomed in a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and drop a note right here. So just dropping a note right there. And now with this note, I'm just going to extend it a little bit just so everything is in line. So now I have the 808 going, and then we have the 808 down here. I'm just going to go ahead and double click. This is how simple it is. I wish someone told me this. And now I'm just going to click on this little icon here. This icon is known as the slide icon. I'm just going to go ahead and click on accept. Now we're going to play this part. Bam, now we have the glide. Now, you might say to yourself, I like that glide, but I want the glide to just be better. You know, Desmond, that glide was real short. I want my glide to be a little more dramatic. Don't worry, chill. I got you. So what we're going to do here now, we're going to go ahead and extend this note. Just click it and move it over to the left. So now we have this note here extended, so the glide is going to be more dramatic. So let's go ahead and take a listen. See, that is much more dramatic. It's not as short as it was the first time. Go ahead and use this in your next cook up. I wish I knew this in the very beginning. No one told me, definitely no one told me how easy it is. And you have this jewel now and you can use it on your next beat. All right, now the third thing that I wish I knew about the FL Studio piano roll in the very beginning is how to quick quantize. Now, you might be wondering, what is quantize? What is quick quantize? What does that mean? So quantizing is essentially we're getting to fit the notes directly on the grid. And sometimes people, especially producers who are maybe more musical, like to play certain notes, maybe like playing the keyboard, maybe like doing certain things, just free flow. They don't want things just locked instantly into the grid. They just kind of want to do their own thing. Sometimes they produce and play certain things without quantizing, without that timing correct directly on the grid. And that's what I essentially did here in this R&B track that I did. I played the notes, but at the same time, my timing isn't really super good, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. So there are certain points here in the piano roll that I just want to correct. I don't want FL Studio to time correct everything. I want that loose human feel, but at the same time, there's certain points that I want to be totally locked in. So this is kind of a nuanced approach, and I think a lot of my producers out there who do play the keys and things like that are really going to enjoy something like this. So now I have this lead that I have going on. Let me just go ahead and play it as is. I'll just go ahead and play this. Okay, and let's just say there's certain parts in this lead that I want to be totally correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here, As we can see here, this lead is not directly on the grid because I played it live. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go ahead and highlight this particular note. And all I'm going to do is on my keyboard, I'm going to go ahead and hit Command Q, or on Windows, that's going to be Control Q. And once I do that, we can see here it's totally locked here on the line, totally locked in on the grid. So I'm going to go ahead and undo it. See how it's off the grid? Now I'm going to go ahead and Control Q. Now it's directly on the grid. So no matter what I highlight, I can go ahead and do that. So if I want to do these two notes, I'll just highlight it, hit Command Q. Now it's directly on the grid, or I can go ahead and take it off. And this is really good because if you're having a really musical approach to one of your beats, you don't want to lose the human feel, but at the same time, certain things are just a little too off. Your timing isn't super good like mine. You can go ahead and use this quick quantize feature. But let's go ahead and play this in context, and I'm just going to kind of work around, mess around with the quick quantize here. So let's go ahead and play the beat. Okay, so after playing it back, I'm still liking it as is. I played things just like slightly delayed here with this lead synth, and I'm liking how it sounds. Whenever I corrected this one note, it just felt not as smooth. It didn't feel as good, as musical to me. So sometimes those mistakes can be a good thing in music, and the same thing is happening right now. So I'm gonna leave it as is, but now you know, now you have this jewel on how to quick quantize just these little individual notes. You could do it with the groups of notes, but if you want to keep things free flowing and human, you could do that right here in FL Studio with this one single shortcut. All right, and the fourth thing that I wish I knew about FL Studio's piano roll in the very beginning is how to strum my chords. So what do I mean by strumming my chords? So when we're playing the keyboard, a lot of the times we kind of arpeggiate our notes. Instead of like da, it's gra, da. Sounds crazy, but it's going to make sense here in FL Studio when I show you actually what's going on. So what we have here now is I just have my chords, just everything just locked into the grid. So it sounds kind of stiff. So this is the electric piano we're going to play here, the Rhodes piano. So listen to the Rhodes piano in this example. So let's take a listen. Okay, so that could work, but it's not quite as musical. It doesn't quite sound as natural and R&B. So what I'm going to do here now is I have the chords highlighted already. I'm just going to go ahead and highlight them. And then on my keyboard, I'm going to do Option S. So in Windows, that should be Alt S. And this is going to open up the strumizer. It's the strumizer. Now, with the strumizer, what we're going to do here now is I'm going to go ahead and move this over to the right. So if you look closely, you can see all the notes kind of leaning all the way. That's a bit too much. I just want light strumming. So I'm just going to do it like that, light strumming. Even with the tension, that's kind of like tension. It's kind of like fine tuning. I think that's pretty good there. I'm going to go ahead and play everything together. So let's take a listen to how it all sounds. Perfect. That's exactly how I want it to sound. I want it to sound nice and musical and natural. So if you guys like to click in your chords before you go ahead and just continue on the beat, open up the strumizer to give things just more of a natural feel, a natural flow. Everything doesn't have to be all the way locked into the grid. Just having things arpeggiate like this, having things not totally on the grid, having things strum, as it's called here in FL Studio. It's just a great way to add musicality to some of the stuff that you're doing. So that's the fourth thing that I wish I knew in the very beginning. It took me quite a while to know this even existed. Now you have this gem and you can use it on your next beat. All right, and finally, the fifth thing that I wish I knew about FL Studio's piano roll in the very beginning is how to slide individual notes off the grid. And this is really good, especially when you want to add just more human, more natural flow, more natural bounce to things whenever you're cooking up a beat. Now, one of the first things that I did notice about FL Studio and working in DAWs in general, coming from the MPC 1000, MPC 2500, way back in the day, is when I made that switch, the first thing I noticed was like, man, everything just feels so stiff. Everything doesn't feel quite human. Everything just kind of feels too perfect, and it just sounds like a little bit robotic. So one of the first things that I wanted to do was know how to capture that natural groove from the real drum machines inside the digital world. And one of the main ways that I found is by sliding individual notes off the grid. So what do I mean by that? So as of right now, you can see here I have the rim shots directly right here on the grid. And let's play the drum pattern as it sounds so far. Then I'm going to actually show you what I mean. So let's just go ahead and play the drum pattern. All right, so pretty cool sounding drum pattern so far, but what if I want like an awkward groove, an awkward bounce to this drum pattern? Let's say I want something like Knots from VA. You guys know that producer named Knots. He kind of has this awkward in a really cool artistic way drum groove, and one of the ways that I can achieve that type of swing is by highlighting all the notes here, all the rim shots here, right? I'm just gonna go ahead and zoom in. And what I'm going to do here now on my keyboard, I'm just going to go and hit Alt, and I'm just going to go ahead and slide things over. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in real tight, and I'm just going to move the rim shot earlier than it quote unquote should be to give me this awkward in an artistic kind of way drum groove. So let's go ahead and listen to the drum pattern as it sounds now. All right, so that's technically wrong, but it creates this weird type of tension in the drum bounce, and depending on what type of music that you have around it, it could be really interesting and can give some really cool feels to your music production that maybe not too many people actually do because they're not aware that you can do things like this in FL Studio. Now, not only that, there's another cool function of using that type of approach. If I go here to the kicks, let's say I wanted to do things in more of like more boom bap, give me that more golden era neck snapping. One of the best ways to do that is by sliding some of the notes over, not having everything perfectly on the grid. So what I'm going to do here now, I'm just going to tweak this drum bounce just a little bit. I'm going to get rid of some of those notes. And what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to have this kick here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and click down on the velocity, and then I'm going to just slide it over a little bit. You see that there, guys? You see how it's off the grid and it's almost about to run into the other kick. So let's go ahead and play the drum pattern now. You guys hear that? That boom, boom. That is one of the main things that really give you the nod factor when you're doing those, sample type beats, things like that, is by sliding that note over, just that little note over right there. It's going to help give you a lot of that that nod factor, that stank face. You guys want to do some of those Griselda kind of beats and things like that, you're going to want to implement this type of function right here, the piano roll. I wish I knew this in the very beginning. I did not. Now you guys have this gem and you can use it in your next beat. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit like and subscribe. My name is Desmond A, and I'll be back with more great videos. Peace. Wait, before you go, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com where you can get free FL Studio Patcher plugins, free loops, free guides, everything you need to level up your music production. Once again, go to DesmondASounds.com or click the link in the description. Go there now and totally transform your music production.